And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I want to talk to you about the lawsuit that Dame Dash just lost. He is ordered to pay $805,000 to Josh Weber and the associates for basically ripping off their movie, as they claim, and for defamation. Now, the reason why I am even making this video is because this is a channel based around entrepreneurship. And for years, I have been telling you that Dame Dash is not a good businessman and that he has questionable business practices and ethics. And many of you came on here and you attacked me and you called me a coon. You called me an agent. You called me a Sambo. You called me a self-hating black man, a chatty patty, a homo, a fag, and so many different things. I was making videos about Dame Dash 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and calling out just the arrogance, the narcissism, the ego, the bravado, and how unnecessary it was, and how that it wasn't a good aura and atmosphere that he was creating for himself and for his partners. And when I make these videos, right, I'm not making these videos because I want to attack Dame Dash or I want to tear a black man down. You're not going to hear me talking about this man's personal life. I'm not talking about whether or not he is or isn't a good dad. I'm not talking about whether or not he's a good husband, a good boyfriend, a good spouse. I'm simply focusing on his business principles and his business ethics. And when I make these videos, I'm not speaking to be a gossiper. I'm speaking to the 22-year-old and the 23-year-old Eli that may have been attracted to this type of ignorance and ego and bravado, right? This is important that we educate those that are coming up behind us, because see, when you look at a lot of these platforms and these podcasts that are bringing Dame Dash on, they don't care about Dame Dash the man. They care about the fact that Dame Dash is going to say some ignorant, stupid shit that's going to go viral and get them clicks and views. But what we're watching right here and right now, witnessing before our very eyes, is we're watching a black man self-destruct, is what we're watching. They alleged in the lawsuit that he was showing up high and drunk. And if you go and you watch the interview that he did with Earn Your Leisure, he's sitting there smoking a blunt and drinking. That's unprofessional. Now, I know what some of you want to say. Well, Dame Dash is a boss. That's just what bosses do. Understand that is disrespectful, not just to the audience, but to the individual's platform to show up high and drunk. Because when you are high and drunk, you are in an altered state of mind. There's a time and place to get high and drunk. When you're on vacation, you get high and drunk. When you're at home and it's a Friday, you get high and you get drunk. When you're on a platform, you owe it to the people who are viewing your content and hearing what you have to say to show up with a clear mind to deliver the jewels in the game that you want to teach people. Now, it would be one thing if this was just an isolated incident where him and Josh Weber had a problem over the movie and whether or not Dame Dash filmed the movie or Josh Weber filmed the movie. But this man has had bad business dealings with Currency. He's had bad business dealings with Beanie Siegel. He's had questionable business dealings with Jim Jones. Irv Gotti even had to call him out on the Drink Champs podcast, where he said that Dame Dash wanted to film a movie with the budget that he had for Tales. This is not me saying these things, because see, I know what you Hotep, Back to Africa, Red, Black, and Green B1 simps are going to say, that I'm some type of a coon and I'm a self-hating black man and I just want to tear a brother when he's down. But these are his peers that are saying these things about this individual. Irv Gotti ran Murder Inc., which is a huge record label right alongside of Rockefeller Records with Dame Dash. So this is not just some fly-by-night or some guy who was just, a hanger-on that was around, or part of the entourage. Irv Gotti was a boss too. And Irv Gotti talked about the questionable business practices. See, at a certain point, you just have to admit what's right in front of your very eyes. And I see why Jay-Z separated himself from Dame Dash. Because, see, if you are with your black brother or sister, and you're watching them spiral out of control, and they won't change their behavior, the best thing you can do is separate yourself. Because the longer that you stick around, and see, this is one of the biggest problems within our community, is that we'll watch our peers or our family members or our friend spiraling out of control, and we'll keep feeding them and coddling them and sticking around. And what you're doing is you're enabling this person to continue the dysfunction that's negatively impacting them. Negatively impacting this man. But see, these other platforms, they only care about the fact that he brings them views and brings them attention. That's the only reason why they even care about bringing him on. They don't care about Dame Dash the man and him getting the help that he needs, whatever that help may be. I don't know. They only care about the attention that he's going to bring them. See, when I'm speaking to the man and hoping that he can figure this out for himself. And this is why Hov had to walk away from it. See, y'all want to run with this whole Illuminati and Bilderberg conspiracy and, he had to walk through some secret door. No. Dame Dash behavior is just not behavior that you want to be associated with. And if the man won't change, the best thing I can do is separate myself from my brother if I cared about him. See, those business practices and tactics that he's using today, that worked back in the 90s and the early 2000s. It doesn't work today. The culture has shifted. But see, Dame Dash is only really relevant with the ignorant aspect of our culture. And there's a lot of people who, they look at this somehow as like, this is boss talk or this is mogul talk. Now, boss talk is Elon Musk taking rockets to the moon and to Mars. That's boss talk. Boss talk is Mark Zuckerberg colonizing the metaverse while Bezos and Elon Musk is trying to colonize the stars. That's boss talk. Right? Boss talk is Vitalik Buterin creating Ethereum that's going to power the Web 3.0 and decentralize and take market share away from centralized entities and companies. That's boss talk. That's mogul talk. The shit that Dame Dash is doing is clown talk. It's entertainment. And the sad thing is many of you like ignorant entertainment. This man should not be finding himself constantly in these type of problems. So we're going to get into, the article, the business dealings that he's had with people like Jim Jones and Irv Gotti, what he had to say, and really just kind of refresh you on so many of the things that I covered 2 years ago when you guys were saying that I didn't know what I was talking about. And I'm only making this video to speak to the younger generation to show them this is not this is not boss talk. This is not bossing up. And you should not be behaving that way. And just because you are a boss does not give you the right to treat people like shit. It does not give you the right to disrespect your workers and treat them unfairly just because you're a boss. So with that being said, guys, please do me a favor. Like this video, share this video, subscribe, and make sure that you hit the notification bell and you set the notifications to all because YouTube doesn't send out my notifications. Also, in the description below, you can also follow me on Instagram. And for you to join my text messaging list, you need to text the word YouTube to the number below. Now, why would you want to join my text messaging list? Because I'm going to be giving away $5,000 worth of cryptocurrency. Yes, you heard me correctly. I'm going to be giving away $5,000 worth of cryptocurrency. The only way that you're going to know about this is you have to be on my text message list. With that being said, guys, if you can hear me clearly, please type 1 and we can get started. Wait for some ones to come in and then we can get started. There we go. So the article starts off with TMZ. Damon Dash loses film rights battle, ordered to pay $805,000. Now, this lawsuit happened 3 years ago, but it's finally now been closed and settled. The verdict is in. Damon Dash isn't gonna like it. He has to cough up more than $800,000 to the director and producers of a movie he tried to claim as his own. According to docs obtained by TMZ, Dash took the L Wednesday morning when the jury sided with the director Josh Weber and Muddy Water Pictures, who made the feature film Dear Frank. starring Brian White, Claudia Jordan, Nick Turturro, Lil Durk and Columbus short. The filmmakers sued the Rockefeller co-founder 3 years ago for copyright infringement and defamation, alleging he tried to shop and advertise the movie as his own, despite Dash getting dropped from the project. To make matters worse, they say Dame sent promo material of the movie to outlets like BET, but changed the title to The List. So, here we go. This is right here, Josh Weber, who was producing the movie right here. This was his poster, and this is what Dame Dash changed it to and tried to shop it to BET. Let's rewind a bit. Josh and Muddy Waters say Damon was supposed to direct the film starting in 2016, but they claimed he wasn't fit for the job because he was often high on set while filming his Sherman Oaks property. I guess they meant to say filming at his Sherman Oaks property. They cut him in 2018 and completed the movie without him. Damon fired back, claiming they shot the movie at his house and used his equipment before stealing the footage to work on it without him. The jury didn't see it that way, and now Dame's got a hefty tab to settle. Attorney Chris Brown repped the plaintiffs and tells TMZ, "I will get every penny due to my clients. We reached out to Dash's camp for comment. So far, no word back yet." Now, for those of you who follow me, you know, if you follow me on Instagram, when you see me in Miami, you see me turning up, you see me drinking, partying, having a good time. Why? Because I'm on vacation. If I showed up right now and I was talking to you about inflation, or if I was talking to you about investing, and I was talking to you about crypto, things that we normally talk about, or I was talking to you about investing in gold or investing in silver coins, and I was sitting here with a blunt in my mouth and a red cup and slurring my words, would you take me serious? Would you take me serious? If I came here and I was talking to you about the Great Reset and the Fourth Industrial Revolution and how technology is going to eat the world, would you take me serious if I had a blunt in my mouth and a red cup? No, you wouldn't take me serious, because I should not be showing up on my platform high and drunk. That's not the purpose of the platform when I'm trying to educate the audience who's watching me. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, how do you know he's high and drunk? Because, see, I know how you hotep back to Africa, red, black, and green, B1 nigga steak. I know it. I know it. Right here, he's on Earn Your Leisure, doing an interview. And don't worry, we're going to play this interview later, with a blunt in his hand and a red cup. And you could clearly tell that he's drunk and he's high. But I know what you're going to say. This is the culture. You're doing it for the culture, baby. Dame's a boss. He could do what he wants. The fact that you would accept the person trying to give you game high and drunk says all you have to know about the culture. See, this is why the culture's broke. This is why the culture cannot thrive. This is why the culture cannot succeed. Because the people that you listen to are not even in their right state of mind to be giving you game. I'm all for turning up. You know I love a good turn up. I'm all for partying. I'm all for having a good time. When you're on vacation, when you're going out on the weekend, not when you're filming a movie, not when you're working with your colleagues. Because, see, understand this, and this is important. You as the boss, you set the tone for how your employees are going to work. You set the environment, you set the culture. So if you're showing up drunk and high, what type of culture and environment is that setting? But see, I know it. You're going to say that's a boss. That's what bosses do. When I worked in investment banking, my boss didn't show up high and drunk. My boss didn't show up high and drunk when we had to go do mergers and acquisitions. He didn't show up drunk. Weinstein and Goldstein is not showing up drunk when they got to go and do a deal. You think Elon Musk and his people, you think they're working on rockets and they're sitting there smoking their weed and drinking out their red cup and talking to you about the culture and bopping and leaning back and forth? You think when Zuckerberg comes and introduces the metaverse, you think when Steve Jobs walks on the stage and unveils the iPhone that's going to go and cannibalize so many different industries, you think he's showing up to his keynote drunk and high? See, a lot of you are silly, and you got to start asking yourself, what does it mean to be a mogul and a boss? What does it mean to be a mogul and a boss? Because that's not a boss. I've never met a boss who is purporting himself in a meeting drunk and high. Right? So now, I want to show you his behavior at the deposition, right? Because they talk about him being erratic. This is him at the deposition 2 years ago with the guy, Chris Brown, who's the attorney for Josh Weber. Look at his behavior, look at his mannerisms, and listen to what his attorney is telling him in regards to his behavior and actions.
Give you control.
We can't all
Just
speak
gives
at
you
the
no
same time.
power. It just makes you look stupid. I'm gonna ruin you as a lawyer. You'll never be a lawyer again. I bet you I'm gonna make you famous. I'm just giving you rope to hang yourself. You're gonna be in a whole nother courtroom, in a whole nother place
Dane,
for your frivolous
Dane,
lawsuits.
any texts that we've received,
I sent
we've
them.
produced, they're all in the Google Drive.
Probably can't
Mr.
read.
Bouchon, you were very
But
aware
the testimony.
I think I did. I think I
hold
did
on.
send those texts. That's saying
Hold on 1 second. I'm speaking now. Okay. The testimony is reflected in the transcript. The accurate testimony.
Disgusting
Okay.
with yourself.
And to the
Black
extent
people like you.
that there is
care
something
about
that
the
reflects
black
that haven't been produced, we will produce that. Where you
You
going?
make me sick.
Where you going?
Makes me sick. I don't care about not self-preservation.
Okay.
Give a fuck about his culture. Suck.
Just
Put a whole put his whole he'll sell his whole culture out for $1.
Dane, please, just let him ask the questions. Let's give him.
I want you guys to understand. He's in a deposition right now with his attorney talking to the other side's attorney. And look how he's behaving. And it only gets worse. And see, he tries to lean on this culture vulture idea and concept. Because see, he knows that to the Hotep back to Africa, red, black, and green B1, that's impressive. Yeah, Dame's in there talking boss talk. But to the rational mind, to the coon mind, to the agent mind, to the self-sambo, the Sambo, the self-hating black man, right? That's not behavior that I would want to be a part of. That's not smart behavior. Because see, a real boss would have came in there, sat back and folded up his legs and crossed his legs and let his attorney do the talking and only answered questions that needed to be answered that was relevant. That's what a real boss would do. Because see, if you know you're not guilty, less is more. What you say can and will be used against you. So you don't come and you don't start speaking. You don't act like this. Because see, this behavior that you're showing and displaying will be used against you in a court of law. Right? But he from 155th Street, right? You guys know he's a boss, right? That's what bosses do. That's what real niggas do. This real nigga behavior. Right? This is how a real nigga is supposed to behave. That's a real one, Damon, a real one. I know how you think, right? Because see, you would go in there and behave like this, and this is exactly why you're going to end up, your goofy ass will end up in jail or losing a lawsuit just like this. This is not how you behave. And thanks for the donation, JT. Thanks for the donation, Mr. G. He could care less about the culture. That was a backup because he was ousted from the group. Absolutely, 100%. So he has nowhere else to turn to but to the ignorant people from the culture, right? Because he understands the concept of the culture vulture is what he is.
Said some white man try to rob me. Suck.
All right, there's no question
That
pending.
ain't funny. You should be disgusted. You represent everything that's terrible about our whole community, man. I'm gonna make
Dave,
sure the
can
world
we
knows
off the
about
record for a
people
second?
like you.
No, we
Yeah,
cannot.
I want the
What?
people to know how disgusted
No.
I am.
Okay.
I'm human, bro. I get people like this try to rob me every day with a straight face. And they don't care about the culture, they only care about themselves.
I'm
No.
asking a
No, well,
question.
I'm just-
my mistake.
Oh, your mistake. So she was not
Nah,
present?
not her. No. I just said my mistake. I ain't saying it again.
Do you frequently make mistakes, Mr.
Always.
Dash?
Objection.
Yeah, I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm human. Silly. That's not gonna go anywhere in court. Do you make mistakes? I just got him there.
Well, it did go somewhere in court. You lost the lawsuit. Do you see how his arrogance cost him? Do you see how his arrogance? Oh, you really think you got me in court? Yeah, they got your ass for $805,000. Oh, they got you.
He made a mistake.
He's a clown.
Yeah, we're gonna get him on a technicality. He won't be able to come because of a
please.
warrant, so I'll do it in New York.
And now I'm right in front of you. You're sweating like a clown. Scared. Look at you all mumbly. Look at you jittery. Look at you jittery.
Dane, please.
We got it.
Please,
We
please.
got it.
His attorney's asking him, please. His own attorney is asking him, please stop.
You said it already.
Let's
You know
go.
what happens? My triggers are when you ask me a question more than once. So if you tell me something more than once, that's when I'm interrupting. Period. That's what's happening.
So allow me to
wait, stop. Let me just say something. The only time I'm interrupting him is when he asks me a question more than once. So when he asks me the same question, that's when I stop him.
I love this comment right here. Here we go from the Hotep. Here we go from the Hotepper from Life is Good. Again, y'all would believe a man wearing a suit, a guy shows up smoking a joint, you think he's bad business, laugh out loud, it's 2022. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is that there's a certain threshold that you have to meet to even speak to me. I never said you have to wear a suit. I said you cannot show up and talk to me drunk and high when you're on a platform talking to hundreds of thousands of people, is what I said. I don't mind you smoking weed. I don't mind you drinking. I smoke weed, I drink, I party on the weekend. I drink, I party, I smoke on vacation. What I don't do is show up to a business dealing with my other people because, see, let me explain something to you, right? See, just because I may be okay with something doesn't mean the other people whom I'm doing business with may be okay with it. It's just called basic professionalism and courtesy that you show to the other party, right? Now, if I'm showing up to a weed dispensary to close on a marijuana deal with some other people, then yeah, we may sit there and smoke weed because the environment calls for it. When you are on a podcast speaking to hundreds of thousands of people, you do not need to be on there drunk, because when we watch this interview right here, Mr. Hotepper, he's drunk. So what game can he really give you if he's drunk? Because I know when I'm drunk, I'm no good for business. I may be good, I may be a lot of fun to hang with, but I'm not in a clear mind to conduct and do business. It's just called basic professionalism. No one said you have to wear a suit. Does Steve Jobs wear a suit? When Steve Jobs comes and he does his keynote presentation, does he have on a suit? No. Does Elon Musk wear a suit? No. Does Zuckerberg wear a suit? No. Right? But see, to the Hotep, to the Back to Africa, to the Red, Black, and Green, to the B1, in your mind, the minute that someone disagrees with you, you have to go into defense mode and somehow try to figure out a way to rationalize and justify behavior that you know is not just detrimental to the platform, to the guests, to the host, but it's detrimental to him as a man, to himself, because he's not representing himself in an upright way. But see, a lot of you like to see people self-destruct. You like to see a person break down. You find joy in watching your black brother and black sister self-destruct. You B1 Hotep, Back to Africa, Red, Black, and Green Hotep ass niggas are the worst people ever. You're the worst. You know why? Because you are worse than any Ku Klux Klan member could ever be. You are the white supremacist. Because instead of you saying to yourself that this man has talent, has skill, has impact, has influence, and he's using it for the wrong thing, and instead of you wanting to see him be better so that he could be better for his family, for his culture, for his people, you want to see Champagne Dame. You want to see Dame self-destruct. Because many of you low-key envy him. So you're not going to speak life into him. You're not going to speak to you're not going to speak to the greatness that he can be. You're going to encourage him to be the clown. You're going to encourage him to be the joke. You're going to encourage him to self-destruct. See, you know, and I know I'm ranting right now, but I gotta speak about this. Wallow, I believe it was Wallow Agili who said this. When you are blessed with a talent and God picks you to go out here and represent and display that talent to the world, whether it's being an athlete, a banker, a lawyer, a doctor, whatever it may be, and you have the ability to make millions of dollars, you don't owe it just to yourself. You owe it to your family. You owe it to the people who you can positively impact to see that through, because you was blessed with an opportunity that other people don't have. And you have to take those gifts serious because you can impact so many other people. So it becomes a point where it's bigger than you. It ain't about you no more and what you want to do. It's about all of the people who your success can impact, right? Because if you follow through with your mission and your vision and you make that $100 million, you make that $200 million, it becomes a ripple effect of so many other people you can positively impact in life. But see, what you want to do, you want to see a person crash out. You want to see a person come on here and be negative. You want to see a person come on here and show up drunk and high so you can laugh about it. Because you're sitting there drunk and high while you're watching it, laughing. But this man just lost $805,000.
You get the first question. So, oh yeah.
We're still on the record.
Sorry.
I'm shutting this down. This is ridiculous.
No.
This is ridiculous.
Damon, please. We got to finish the
client is
question.
unruly. He's answering the phone.
Come on.
The witness is here.
She's talking. I'm answering while I'm talking to her, not you. That was a break. I have stood up. Yes, it is.
Just
It's
continue your
fine. Stop crying.
examination. The
Stop
witness
crying. You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer.
With
Come
all due
on.
respect, it's his exam.
Now, this is his attorney talking to him, telling him with all due respect, basically his behavior is out of control. He's answering a phone in the middle of a deposition. This is clown behavior. This is not boss behavior.
Examination.
Answering the phone. We're still on the record.
Anytime I'm interrupting him is when he asks me a question more than once. So when he asks me the same question, that's when I stop him. You get the first question. So, oh yeah.
We're still on the record.
Sorry.
I'm shutting this down. This is ridiculous.
No.
This is
Damon,
ridiculous.
please. We got to
The
finish
client
the
is
question.
unruly. He's answering the phone.
Come on.
The witness is here.
She's talking. I'm answering while I'm talking to her, not you. That was a break. I have stood up. Yes, it is. It's
Continue
fine.
your
Stop
examination. The
crying.
witness
Stop
is
crying.
here.
You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer.
With
Come
all due
on.
respect, it's his examination. If he wants to conduct it, he can conduct it. If he doesn't, then, we can terminate this. But that's on you.
Yeah.
The witness is here.
I'm not here. He's a clown.
All right? You're going to address the judge tomorrow.
Yeah,
If there's
he can say all
issues
this.
with
He's
this,
gonna-
you can
oh,
talk
he
about
took a
it.
phone call with Rebecca. So what?
Damon Dash.
Don't worry. It gets so much better from here, right? It gets so much better from here, right? Now, I'm glad Life is Good said that. See, this is the Hotepper. This is the Back to Africa. This is the Red, Black, and Green. This is a B1. Right here, Life is Good. He says, Dame Dash employs more people than you, true or false. So somehow, because he employs people, that means then all of the bad behavior, the antics, the yelling, the screaming, that's okay. Allegedly taking other people's, projects, that's okay, right? That's okay. So let's listen to how Dame Dash talks to his employees, right? Because Life is Good is talking about, his employees. Well, this is Dame Dash talking to someone that works for him. This is a female, by the way. Let's listen to how he talks to his employees.
All these people, I wrote those night last night I was here. She keeps asking me the same questions over and over again so she can fucking disrespect me. You don't start the movie like that. I can't move forward. I'm close. Now we gotta waste time. So she does that shit again. If I waste another second because of her, and she knows better. You ask for over there, you fired. Because you're not starting nothing nowhere else. Not in this very moment. You want no reason, you got a movie to do? Do that shit again.
So there we go. That's a boss. That's how a boss talks to his employees, right? Because he employs people. He's the boss, so he could just tell you, fuck you, do that shit again, you're fucking fired, shut the fuck up, do what the fuck I say. He can talk to you any kind of way. Right? Right? Because he's your boss. Right? Based upon Life is Good, what Life is Good is saying, he employs people, so he just do what you want. Talk to people how you want. Because you're a boss. That's what boss niggas do. Right? Boss niggas around. I want you to understand that in 2022, that behavior is a lawsuit waiting to happen. In 2022, that behavior will not work. I don't care if you are a boss. That behavior does not work in 2022. It may have worked in 1995, but see, when everyone has one of these and they can record you and you are yelling and screaming like that in a court of public opinion, you're canceled. And see, what you're watching is you're watching a man that can't adapt. You're watching a man that cannot shift, that has talent, that could really, he could really help some people if he changed some things about himself. See, we all can change. I'm not perfect and you're not perfect. And when people ask you to be better, you owe it to the people whom you're trying to influence and impact to try to be better. Not to say I'm a boss and I'm going to do what the fuck I want. Now, I know what you hoteppers are going to say. I know what you backed after. Well, you know, some people, they smoke weed because they have autism or they have, you know, personality disorders and it calms them down. They have anxiety. Okay. So why the alcohol? Okay, I'll give you the weed. Why the alcohol? Because let's watch the Earn Your Leisure interview that he did, and let's shout out to Troy and them, Troy and Rashad for being able to even tolerate this behavior for as long as because he overtalks them the whole time. They can't really even get a thought out, right? And you're gonna clearly see that he's drunk and he's high. So how can this really be a productive interview? But let's listen to him.
We do laws. If you really watching, you see I'm kicking it with senators and congressmen. They pass laws.
So how do creatives and creators get to you? Like, what's the process, right? If I had
get to me,
what's the process?
You got to get to you to get to me. I don't want to talk to everybody. I got shit to do. But what I'm doing is, and I'm empowering other people so that they can empower other people. That's what I'm doing. You younger than me. You know, you still feel like being out there. You running around. So I'm gonna give you the power to distribute whatever power.
You can clearly see that he's drunk. He's high. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not knocking it. I love to get lit. When the environment calls for it. You're on a podcast, brother, speaking to thousands of people. This ain't like some just offhanded live, you in your house chilling. You're on a podcast. That means that this had to be planned. You knew you were going to be there. There's just a certain level of professionalism that you have to display. But see, his crowd and audience, they don't want professionalism, which is why when you look at the culture, this is why that culture this is why they always have poor record deals. See, there's a pattern of behavior here. Like when you talk to rappers, you always hear the story about them, like, getting robbed, getting fucked by record labels. That's because they show up drunk and high. That's the culture. How can you do business if you show up, well, it's 2022. I'm drunk, I'm high, I'm perked up, I'm pilled up. So they just, you give me $1 million, they sign the name on anything. Because that's the culture. It's real nigga shit. I'm saying keeping it real, holding it down. Keeping it real for the motherfucking set. What? I'm a coon. What do I know, right? Shit, I don't know nothing. I'm just a coon. I'm just a black man, a bussy warrior sitting here hating on a successful man that's a boss. That's what I'm doing, right? This the culture, though. This the culture. This rebuilding Black Wall Street. Crazy.
Power I got to who you curate. Because you're doing such good shit.
Appreciate it.
Gotcha.
They say that, we always learn the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, multiple streams of income. But I feel like that's something that you always did was have multiple streams. You never know when a well's going to dry up, so you got to have other ones. So that's something that you just knew early on. Like, what's your theory behind having multiple different avenues working at the same time?
Okay, imagine this. Imagine your number one artist after his first album saying, "I quit." That's Jay-Z.
Jay-Z quit after, what do you mean?
He retired after Reasonable Doubt.
It's supposed to be his first and last album.
Did he?
Yeah, it's supposed to be his first
15 albums later, yeah. So, from that day, I was like, well, I ain't depending on this nigga.
I'm gonna build a roster.
What?
Well, how long did he retire though? Like a month? He had
I don't know.
Volume
man.
1.
He didn't retire.
Big Pass. He just passed it in Volume 1.
Nigga, how many fucking retirements did this nigga do?
A lot.
All right, so I lost count of how many times he retired.
So that
and I don't even care.
That pushed you to just diversify.
Yeah, it was like 19.
So you guys can go and watch the interview, but you can clearly see that he's, clearly he's intoxicated, right? Right? So right here, look at the comments. See, I'm a coon, so you shouldn't listen to me, but look at the comments. Dame might as well interview himself. Love Dame, but he needs to tone down the arrogance. Humble thyself, king, and continue to do what you do. People can see this for what it is. People who care. People who can see that, homie, there's a problem here. Now, the person said, I heard Dame pulled up on your end. No one's ever pulled up on me, and I've never ran, so I don't know what you're talking about. But I'll gladly challenge you. I'll, $100,000 bet that anyone pulled up on me and I ran. That never happened. You pull up on me, I'm gonna give you what you're looking for. And I promise you that. Anyone. And I'll leave that there. So, let's listen to what Irv Gotti had to say about Dame, because see, there's a pattern of behavior here where Dame feels that he can do what he wants with other people's content, allegedly, with other people's products, allegedly, with other people's shows or budgets, allegedly. Again, I'm not saying these things. This is what Josh Weber took him to court for in Muddy Waters, and this is what Irv Gotti is doing right now. He's basically saying what happened with Tails and the budget they had. So again, if you don't believe me, you can go and research the researcher. This is on Revolt and this is on Drink Champs. So let's listen to it.
With Dame. And I don't take it lightly. But here, I'll give you a story. And I don't know if you should use this or not, but I'll give it to you. It's not that bad. Okay. I wanted Dame to do a Tails episode.
With direct?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Yeah. I love doing dope shit for the culture, if you didn't know.
All right. So what happened that didn't happen?
But Dame he's different. I told Dame going in, he had OG Daniel, he was on the phone. Okay. And I was like, Dame, you gotta listen, you gotta work with BET. I'm a boss, but I have a partner.
Right.
Gotta work with BET.
And he's working with BET now on the Tina Davis show, right?
Right, but here's where it went wrong. He was asking me,
do you own your match?
How much? No, he was asking me, how much to shoot an episode? I said, $1 million and change. Right. He said, I'm making a movie. I said, Dame, I don't need a movie from you. And everything you do has to be approved by BET. Right. And I don't need a movie. I need 40 minutes. With commercials, my hour episode is 40 minutes. He said, I'll cut a 40-minute spot and then make a movie. Right. But I'm like, Dame, we're not giving you this money for you to do whatever you want. You have to work with us. So I was like, yo, you don't need to do it, because it was going to be a clusterfuck.
What does that mean, clusterfuck? I'm sorry.
It's going to not be good.
It's not. It's a clusterfuck. It's like he's going to want to do things. BT's going to be like, what? Fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So this is my second season with BT. I can't have that.
Right.
So something that I wanted to do for my man, try and help him or whatever, it got foiled.
Right.
And it made me feel bad because, he stopped following me. He was like, you're a piece of shit, Gotti, and you did this and you did that. And I'm like, nigga, I love you, but you ain't understanding, nigga. This ain't no indie flick. And that's what he's used to. He's used to putting his own money up and being the boss. It's not like if my episodes is $1.5 million for each episode or whatever like that. It doesn't work where you get $1.5 million. Right. I just cut you $1.5 million. You do whatever you want. And I said that on the phone with him. I was like, yo, you got to work with BET. You can't. It's not like that. So when he said, yeah, I'm going to shoot a movie for that money. And I'm like, yo, I need a 40-minute, hour episode. I'll give you that, and then I'll have the movie.
Let me ask you, what was wrong with that?
What the fuck you mean? What was wrong with that? He don't own the shit, nigga.
Yeah.
He don't own the shit, nigga. You know the TV fucking world. You know the TV game.
Right. No, I'm asking.
If Revolt gives you the lion's share, Revolt is like, that's my shit. You gotta answer the Revolt. You got
Exactly. What Irv Gotti is basically saying is, for example, for those of you who do not know, my platform is based upon cryptocurrency. I educate people about crypto and I talk about the economy. And I also have people who invest with me. So effectively, and I'm reading between the lines, what Irv Gotti is saying is that Dame Dash is basically saying, well, you got $1 million to film, an episode. Well, let's go do our own thing, like make a movie and also do the show. You can't take people's money and use it for whatever you want to use it for. It has to be used for the show. That's like you giving me $100,000 to invest in DeFi, right? And earn you passive income. And I take $20,000 and I put it in a Phantom and I start staking it, but I take the other $80,000 and go and do real estate with it. That's not what you gave me the money to go and do. That's unethical. That's questionable business practices. That's bad business practices, right? Now, this is his peer saying this about him. This is not me saying this. This is what his peer is saying to him. Doesn't this sound a lot like what he just lost a lawsuit for? Pattern of behavior. This is not me saying these things. This is his peer saying this about him. You have a fiduciary duty to your clients to manage their money and do with their money what you said you were going to do. And what Irv is saying to him is that BET has to approve on everything. But see, that's the problem. I'm a boss. I can do what I want. And it doesn't work that way. Just because you're a boss does not mean you can talk to people any way you like. Just because you're a boss does not mean you can take people's money and do with it what you like. It doesn't work that way.
Niggas you gotta answer to. You just said at the beginning of the show, you was like, yo, with thing, or Irv Gotti at check. But if you come with a lame guest, they like, nah, nigga.
That's very true.
Okay, so you gotta work with these niggas.
Yes. Understood.
This guy has no comprehension on working with these niggas. I'm gonna make a movie. Nigga, let's break it down to the realest shit. You're a work for hire.
Right.
You don't have no power. You're the director. Here's the script. Direct this shit. If you don't direct it right, we're gonna get you the fuck out of here. Right. But Dame don't work like that. He don't work with bosses and being told what to do. So I respectfully said, yo, I can't do it. Mm-hmm. His record was paid in full.
Oh, Rakim, Arabian Rakim?
Yes.
No. Wait.
I wanted it.
I'm talking about the movie paid.
No. But he did that too, which is great. But his song he was doing was Eric B. and Rakim paid in full. And I want, nigga, see, look at everybody. Look, this nigga want to clap. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay, I was with you guys.
Yeah.
When he said paid in full, yes, nigga. Yes, nigga.
So let's think about this for a second now. So Irv Gotti also talks about how Dame Dash went on social media and was basically trashing him, allegedly. I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't see the post. So when Dame Dash goes on social media and he calls someone out, that's not being a chatty patty. But if I talk about it, I'm being a chatty patty. See, again, just in the Hotep Back to Africa, Red, Black, and Green B1's mind, the mental gymnastics that you have to jump through. Right? So when he calls people culture vultures and when he talks about people, it's okay because, well, that's Dame, right? So when he goes and he blasts Irv Gotti on social media, that's not being a chatty patty, that's being a real nigga. But if I talk about his questionable business practices based upon what people are saying, then I'm being a chatty patty, I'm being a bussy warrior, and I'm a homo. It's laughable how the logic that the Hotep Back to Africa, Red, Black, and Green B1, like that just their reasoning and their logic. It's amazing to me. Now, this is Jim Jones saying the same thing or a similar thing about him. This is not me making these things up. This is his peers, his friends, people he grew up with, people he did business with, saying these things about him.
Fuck Dame.
Here we go.
Where are you at with Dame these days?
Fuck Dame.
You have it.
You heard?
No, because against the vamp life thing you saying.
No, I just don't. I don't like. Where I'm from, we rob, we don't steal. You heard? And if I put my trust in you, I put my trust in you. If I put my trust in you, there's nobody that can come to me and tell me anything about you. Period. You dig? Because I'm trusting in you that you're going to do the right by us because you my nigga like that. You dig? And then when you come to find out none of that was authentic and nobody was doing the right thing or had you in mind when they thought they were doing the right thing, then, you know, all the lines get blurred.
Is that expressed to Max too, or y'all on better terms, or is there?
Nah, that's a chapter of my life that been gone. I don't even think about that no more. You dig? Like it's nothing to me to talk about when a person is locked up. I could never. What could I say? Own circumstances he gotta go through, right, or getting caught up, or.
So you can finish watching the rest. Again, now someone said Jim Jones switches up more than anyone. We're not talking about whether or not Jim Jones switches up or not. We're showing that there's a pattern of behavior with questionable business practices, right? That's what we're showing here. We're showing that the behavior is the problem. We're showing that if you're a 22, 23-year-old entrepreneur and you're watching that behavior, that's not boss and mogul talk. That's going to get you sued. That's what we're showing you here. That doesn't mean Dame is a bad person. Doesn't mean that Dame is a bad father or he needs to be in jail. No one's saying any of these things. We're talking about his business practices. And see, the problem for a lot of you is that you feel like if anyone questions something that someone is doing, that they're somehow attacking a black man and no one's trying to put Dame down. No one's trying to put the law on Dame. He already lost the lawsuit. That's what you have a court. That's what you have the court system for, the legal system. He went through the legal system and he lost, and now he has to pay them $805,000. I'm just showing you a pattern of behavior. I'm showing you that these other platforms are not going to break this down to you. These other platforms are all about trying to get views and trying to entertain you. They're really not trying to educate you. So they want to bring on these guests that have high profiles to let them come on there and spew their rhetoric. You should not be following that. And I'll end it with this. This is what I want to play, last but not least. The Breakfast Club interview. I want you to listen to, I want you to think about that. This man is on a nationally syndicated show that's going to be viewed by millions of people. And he's on here telling people who 90% of the people who's watching the show, he's telling them that because they have a boss, they're calling another man daddy. Now, just think about how illogical this is. That means that the actors and the actresses that are in his movies, they're not bosses, right? So he's belittling them and their work and their contribution because they're not bosses. Do you understand how stupid and childish that sounds? So the cameraman and the camera crew that's helping film your movies, they're not bosses. So, right, they need to be belittled. The people who buy your products, the music that you sell, the oil that you sell, the streaming service that you sell, they have jobs. So go shit on them too, disrespect them too. That's what bosses do. That's what bosses do. Again, I just cannot believe that people look at this and they think that this is the way that a boss behaves, or that this is what it is to be a boss, or what it means to be a boss. No, what it means to be a boss is the fact that you have control over your time and your resources. What it means to be a boss is that you see opportunity to, impact something or shape something in the world. What it means to be a boss is you have the opportunity to employ people and give them a livable wage, a workable wage, right? Whatever that may be, opportunity. That's what it means to be a boss, to impact other people, to impact industries. I'm not a boss because I want to yell at people and scream at people and take my frustration out on people. I didn't become a boss to belittle you and say to you, because you're my worker, that you're calling me daddy. And again, as I said before, there's nothing wrong with having ego, having bravado when it calls for it. There's nothing wrong with it. That doesn't call for it. To belittle someone and just dehumanize them and make them seem like they're like a child because they have a job. It's just it's like it's crazy to me. But again, this is the culture, and this is what the culture gravitates towards. So again, when I make this video, I'm not speaking because I know I can't change Dame. I wouldn't even want to work with him. I wouldn't even want to be in his presence because that behavior is not behavior that I would want to be around. I would never want to be around a person who thinks that they can talk to people that way. It wouldn't mix for me. I wouldn't even want to watch a person talk to their employees like that. That's just not something I would want to be around. Screaming and yelling at people. That's not what I want to be around. Again, and there's nothing wrong with, drinking. There's nothing wrong with turning up. You know me. Listen, I'm going to be in Miami in probably another 2 or 3 days. Having the time of my life. On the beach, drinking, chilling, doing what I do. Why? Because when you're on vacation, you do what vacationers do. When I'm on a podcast or I'm on a show, I promise you, I'm not going to be showing up drunk or high. Now, if I'm on Drink Champs, again, context matters. Well, then, yeah, I'm going to be talking. I'll have some drinks because I'm on Drink Champs. That's the name of the podcast. If I'm on a podcast about weed, then, yeah, I'm going to come on here and smoke weed because you're on a podcast that calls for it. But if I'm coming to talk to you about game and business and entrepreneurship, I'm not going to show up drunk and high. I'm not going to show up talking to you about investing in silver and investing in gold and investing in crypto drunk and high. I'm not going to talk to you about decentralized finance and how you can earn more money in DeFi passively than you can earn in a CD account drunk and high. It's not what I'm going to do because I respect my audience and I respect my viewers to not do that. No one's saying you got to be all buttoned up and suited up. No one said that. You could do whatever you want to do on your leisure time. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do. What I'm here to tell you, though, is that you don't show up on no podcast behaving like that. So when they say that he was drunk and high on the set, acting erratic, you could believe it. If a man to go to his own deposition and behave like this and talk like this, pretty safe to say that he'll probably do it on his own set. So this is why now he has to pay $805,000. And then, again, like I was saying earlier, this is what he put up on his page. He says, you have to lose some battles to win the war. Stay tuned. Fat liars, you'll never be me. Don't ever say you directed my movie. So even though he has to pay, he's still going down swinging. And look at this. Let's look at this. Listen to what some of the people are commenting. So this person says, show the losses and the wins. Respect. This person said, Dame, ego be getting in the way of shit. Humble yourself. Which is what I agree with, right? So this person said, why don't anybody post all the good shit Dame does all the time? Even bosses take losses. If they use the material in the movie that you directed, let's go to, not the nigga Chris Brown again. Dame is bad business. I wouldn't work for him. So you're seeing people basically, a lot of people are saying what I'm saying. But then, look at this. Oh shit, Chris Brown a lawyer now? Damn, you lost, bro. One thing about Dame, he ain't no liar. If he said it's his movie, it's his. You're always standing on 10 toes. You going to get that back tenfold. Wow. Get yourself some holy oil. It's really good for spiritual protection. Go to church and get some. That's what I want to see. Dame be going through it. Ha, Chris Breezy on his job. Damn, Breezy. Why you got to do Dame like that? So, okay, well, I don't see a lot of people encouraging it because earlier I saw people encouraging it. I see some donations coming in. Let me read you guys' donations. Dame saw your outfit and laughed you out of the room. I know, right? Because Amiri, that's not drippy, right? This is coon. This is coon shit, right? It's fake. This is what coons wear. He laughed me out of there. I tell you, you guys are funny. I've never met Dame a day in my life. If I ever had a chance to really speak to Dame, I would encourage him to be a better version of himself, to be the best version of himself. I would encourage him to, go back to the drawing board and try to see some things in the error in his ways and fix some things. Because he has some good ideas. He has some good concepts when he talks about sticking together, group economics, doing business, and all these different things. But group economics needs to benefit the group and not just the individual, right? So there are things about him that they are quality, they are good. But then there are other aspects of him that are horrible. And they're toxic and they're dangerous for an up-and-coming entrepreneur to follow, right? And that's who I'm speaking to. Again, I make these videos to speak to that 22, 23-year-old that's going to try to follow this act. This is where this act gets you. It doesn't end up well for you. Bruce Dallas says, I bought the book Culture Vultures, and Dame sent me that garbage movie Lacidus. Yeah, I haven't looked at the movie, honestly. I do think that he has a point when he talks about the culture vultures and how they take advantage of people. But part of the reason why people get taken advantage of is because they don't know what good business looks like, right? And this is why I created this channel to talk to you guys about how to use discernment when doing business. Just because a person has on a suit doesn't mean that they're any bit better than a person with a blunt in their mouth. What I'm saying to you is that if a person shows up to a professional environment and setting with a blunt in their mouth and a red cup, they're not coming in there to do business or in a clear state of mind. And I stand on that. But Zuckerberg doesn't wear suits. Jobs doesn't wear suits. No one says you have to wear a suit. There's just a way you need to purport yourself in a professional setting. There's just a certain level of decorum and professionalism that you need to, exude to the people who are sitting there watching you or talking to you. It's just basic level of respect, not just for yourself, but for your peers. Who else? I saw JT just put a donation in there. Let's see what you said. At what point would a culture understand that that being professional is not corny? You can be both authentically black and professional. Absolutely. But see, and thanks for the donation, right, JT? As we build on this is why platforms are important, like your platform and my platform, because you're not going to get this type of content from the Nick Cannon podcast, from Earn Your Leisure, from the Shannon Sharp podcast, because these individuals, number one, they have their own business to tend to. So we have to do this dirty work and talk about this type of stuff. And now I have to have people, spamming my email, putting my emails into gay porn sites, ordering food and sending it to my house. People are threatening me on the internet. We have to deal with these things because we have to cover the other side. See, most of the time you only get one side of the story. You don't get the other side of the story. So I don't mind doing the dirty work because I know that there are a lot of individuals like myself who's 20, 21, 22, 23, and they're looking at becoming an entrepreneur and they're trying to start a business and they're looking for just a sound place to go, a safe place to go and just learn some basic game. And that's what I try to do. I try to show you what not to do, right? Because if I had someone like myself, when I first got started, I would have been successful much earlier. I had to learn everything through trial and error. And I would have been tempted to follow a person like this, thinking that your bravado and your ego is, what you need to lead with. No, you need to lead with just treating people a certain way, right? And it's just a certain level, like JT was saying, you can be black and you could be pro-black, you could be a hotep or whatever, but there's a certain level of professionalism that you just have to, walk with and operate with when you're doing business with people, especially when, see, perception is important. And this is another thing that I learned recently. How people perceive you is very important because if the perception is a lie, but the lie is more entertaining than the truth, then people will run with the lie about you. And then now you find yourself in a legal battle and people are saying you're high and drunk. They can then now use clips against you of being drunk and high and say, see, look, this is how a person behaves. So in 2022, you have to be very mindful of how you purport yourself and present yourself to the world. Not saying you have to be fake, not saying that you have to be something that you're not. You can be authentically you and just say, after the podcast, I'm gonna go get drunk and high, right? On the weekend, I'm going to go get drunk and high. Again, no one's saying there's anything wrong with getting drunk and getting high. There's a time and place for it. Because I promise you, in a couple of days, you're going to see me in Miami doing my thing. But I'm going to be on vacation. I'm not going to be on a podcast. I'm not going to be speaking to people. I'm not going to be in a professional setting or around people looking for education because I'm no good at that point. There's a time and place for everything. This is not attacking Dame as a man. This is not trying to belittle Dame. This is not trying to put Dame down. It's just showing you that there are questionable business practices about this man, and a lot of the things that he says, they're horrible and they're toxic. A boss does not give you a right to disrespect other people. And understand that just because you're independent, you still have to be able to work well with other bosses. Being a boss does not give you a right to berate and disrespect people. Candace Anu said, when did I ever say that drinking and smoking isn't good? I never said it wasn't. I said on a podcast. But see, I know you're trolling, right? But I said when you're on a podcast that's going to be viewed by millions of people, or if you're filming a movie, do you think that you should be showing up to the set of a movie allegedly drunk and high? Right? When you're on the set of a movie and you're producing a movie, do you really think that you should be drunk and high? I don't think so. I don't think that that's smart to do. I have no opinion on the Ronin network hack. For those of you who don't know, because I know some of you are tuning in for the rap stuff. Ronin basically was a side chain for Axie Infinity. This is one of the biggest problems that's been happening. This is a cryptocurrency, by the way, for those of you who don't know. One of the biggest problems with crypto is these multi-sig wallets. And I spoke about this with Polygon, and I spoke about this with some of the other blockchains. This is the problem. You don't know if one person controls all 9 of those keys, right? And in the case of Ronin, one key was able to be used to exploit the actual protocol. So this is one of the biggest problems in crypto with these keys. You always hear me say plenty of times, not your keys, not your crypto. Whenever you see a project that has admin keys, meaning that the admins of the project can edit the smart contract and drain funds, be careful. I've been speaking about this for a very, very long time here. So I've been speaking about that. Just be mindful of these things. The so-called hip hop or black culture. Yeah. And this is why platforms like my platform, they're needed to just call out the silliness that you see in the culture. That's goofy. To go into a deposition and behave that way is goofy. It's just goofy behavior. And see, I would want, and I'm real here. If I was behaving a certain way, I would want my people to hold me accountable. I would want my followers to say, Eli, why are you trying to teach us about crypto drunk and high? I would want my people to call me out if I was doing things unbecoming of me. Right? Please check me if I'm out of line. I would want my people to do that. I would want you to want the best for me. I would not want you to sit around and just because you can get an interview out of me to sit there and let this happen. Now remember, I was doing these videos 2 years ago about Dame Dash. 2 years ago, I made these videos about Dame Dash. And one thing about time is it reveals all. So you could call me a coon, an agent, a hater, a Sambo, a bussy warrior, a homo, a fag. You call me all those words you want to call me. But at the end of the day, I always end up being right. Now this man's losing out on $800,000 that he has to pay based upon losing the suit. Just like I talked to you about inflation, I spoke to you about the Great Reset. I talked to you about the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I talked to you about buying Ethereum when it was $100, Bitcoin when it was $3,000, right? I do these things to keep track of the score. Because on this platform, you're not going to come here and just get positivity all day long. Sometimes we're going to have a difficult conversation that you may not want to hear. But it's for the better. It's trying to better everyone and better the culture. Because again, like I said before, let's just watch this. Let's watch this right here. In the middle of a deposition.
We can't all
Just gives you no power. It just makes you look stupid. I'm gonna ruin you as a lawyer. You'll never be a lawyer again. I bet you I'm gonna make you famous. I'm just giving you rope to hang yourself. You're gonna be in a whole nother courtroom, in a whole nother place for your frivolous lawsuits.
Any texts that we've received,
we've
produced, they're all in the Google Drive.
Probably can't
Mr.
read.
Sean, you were very aware
the testimony.
I think I did send those texts.
Hold on 1 second. I'm speaking now. Okay. The testimony is reflected in the transcript. The accurate testimony. Okay. And to the extent that there is something that reflects that haven't been produced, we will produce that. Where you going?
You make me sick.
Where you going?
Makes me sick. I don't care about self-preservation.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck about this culture. Suck. Just put a whole put his he'll sell his whole culture out for $1.
Dane, please just let him ask the questions. Let's give him the answers. And
Said some white man try to rob me. Suck.
All right, there's no question pending.
It ain't funny. You should be disgusted. You represent everything that's terrible about our whole community, man. And I'm gonna make sure the world knows about people like
No, we cannot.
I want the people to know how disgusted I am.
Okay.
I'm human, bro. I get people like this try to rob me every day with a straight face. And they don't care about the culture. They only care about themselves.
I'm asking a question.
I'm just my mistake.
Oh, your mistake. So she was not present?
Nah, not her. No. I just said my mistake. I ain't saying it again.
Do you frequently make mistakes, Mr.
Always. Yeah, I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm human. Silly. That's not going to go anywhere in court.
Do you make mistakes? I just got him there. He made a mistake.
He's a clown.
Yeah, we're going to get him on a technicality. He won't be able to come because of a warrant, so I'll do it in New York.
And now I'm right in front of you. You're sweating like a clown. Scared. Look at you all mumbly. Look at you jittery. Look at you jittery.
Dane, please.
We got it.
Please.
We got it. You said it already. You know what happens? My triggers are when you ask me a question more than once. So if you tell me something more than once, that's when I'm interrupting. Really, that's what's happening.
So allow me to
stop. Let me just say something. The only time I'm interrupting him is when he asks me a question more than once. So when he asks me the same question, that's when I stop him. You get the first question. So,
We're still on the record.
Sorry.
I'm shutting this down. This is ridiculous.
So I just wanted to end it there, right here on that note. That's in a deposition 2 years ago for the lawsuit that he just lost. That's how he was behaving and got sanctioned by the court for this behavior.